This is the story of a king who sought friendship, glory, and eternal life, and in his search discovered what it truly meant to be human. Gilgamesh, a powerful and wise man, demanded much from his people, and his strength was a burden as well as a blessing. The people cried to the gods, and the gods created Enkidu, a wild man who roamed the forests and ran with the beasts. He was as strong as Gilgamesh, but knew nothing of cities or men. His hair was long, like the wilderness, and he drank water alongside gazelles. He was the embodiment of nature's strength and freedom. One day, a hunter saw Enkidu and, terrified, sought help from the temple priestess, Shamhat. She was sent to tame the wild man. Shamhat met Enkidu by a waterhole. With gentle words and kindness, she led him away from the wild and introduced him to the ways of humanity. She taught him to eat bread, drink wine, and speak as men do. Enkidu grew wise, but lost his bond with the animals. When he returned to the wild, the creatures fled from him. He wept for what he had lost, but knew his path lay forward. He journeyed to Uruk to confront Gilgamesh, as the gods had intended. When Enkidu arrived, he heard of Gilgamesh's strength and his harsh rule. The two mighty men clashed in the streets, their battle shaking the city's foundations. They wrestled like two great bulls, neither able to overpower the other. In their struggle, they found mutual respect. Their rivalry turned to friendship, a bond so deep it became legendary. Seeking adventure, Gilgamesh and Enkidu set their sights on the Cedar forest, guarded by the fearsome giant Humbaba. They wished to carve their names into history. With courage and determination, they entered the forest. The trees were as tall as the sky, and the air was thick with the scent of cedar. Humbaba roared like a storm, his breath like fire. Together they fought fiercely. With the help of the sun, god Shamash, who sent mighty winds to bind the giant, they defeated Humbaba. Though Humbaba begged for mercy, they struck him down and cut down the sacred cedars. They returned to Uruk as heroes, their names spoken with awe, but their victory drew the wrath of the gods. The goddess Ishtar, captivated by Gilgamesh's bravery and beauty, sought his love. She offered him riches and power, but Gilgamesh rejected her, reminding her of the suffering she had brought upon her past lovers. Humiliated and furious, Ishtar unleashed the bull of heaven upon Uruk. The earth trembled, and the bull's hooves split the ground. Many perished. Gilgamesh and Enkidu fought side by side once more. Enkidu seized the bull by its horns, while Gilgamesh delivered the fatal blow. The city cheered their victory, but the gods were not pleased. The gods were angered by their defiance. They decreed that one of the heroes must die. Enkidu was chosen to pay the price. He fell ill, and his strength faded. As he lay dying, he cursed the hunter who found him and Shamhat, who led him from the wild. But before his final breath, he blessed Gilgamesh for their friendship. Enkidu died, and Gilgamesh was shattered. Determined to find immortality, he journeyed to the ends of the earth. He sought Utnapishtim, the man who survived the great flood and was granted eternal life by the gods. Through dark mountains and across the waters of death, Gilgamesh pressed on. He met Cedar, the wise alewife, who urged him to find joy in the life he had. Finally, he found Utnapishtim. The immortal man told him that life and death were the will of the gods. He shared the story of the great flood, how the gods had washed the earth clean, sparing only Utnapishtim and his wife. As a reward, they were granted eternal life. But he warned Gilgamesh that immortality was not meant for mortals. Utnapishtim challenged Gilgamesh to stay awake for 7 nights to prove his worthiness. Gilgamesh, exhausted from his journey, fell asleep almost immediately. He failed the test. Utnapishtim offered him one last chance, a plant that granted youth. Overjoyed, Gilgamesh retrieved it from the depths of the sea. He held the plant close, dreaming of his renewed life. But as he rested by a pool, a serpent crept from the shadows and stole the plant. It slithered away, shedding its skin as a sign of its rebirth. Empty-handed, he returned to Uruk. He gazed upon its towering walls and understood. Immortality was not for men, but his legacy would endure. He would be remembered through the strength of his city and the wisdom he gained. He accepted his place in the world, knowing that his story would live on. And so, Gilgamesh, the warrior, the king, the seeker of eternal life, found his greatest triumph not in defeating death, but in embracing life. His story echoed through the ages, reminding all who heard it that true greatness lies in the mark we leave on the hearts of others.